What is it going to take to turn my street-driven WRX into a worthy track machine? I bought this car with one goal in mind: to build a fully prepped track car in the pursuit of adrenaline, speed, and to fulfill a goal of competing in grid life time attack.
I want to buy a race car, and I want to build a race car.
The first time I took it to the track, it failed with a cooling issue. The car sat throughout the winter, and then I brought it to Balt's Autosports, where we pulled and upgraded the engine.
These are the ARP head studs. Now, these are gonna have a higher tensile strength and clamping force. They're gonna last a lot longer, and they're gonna be able to withstand a lot of the torque and power that I put in this engine.
And then we sought redemption at my second track day. The result? I learned that this car has a lot of work to be done. There's 7 key areas that need to be addressed to make this car a worthy track machine: suspension, wheels and tires, brakes, interior, drivetrain, power, and reliability. Starting with suspension. With a fixed engine and mechanically sound car, I was finally able to push the WRX to find its limit. And I found that limit pretty fast. A large limitation of the car was its suspension, or lack thereof. With stock struts and springs that have over 100,000 miles on them, it's not exactly a dialed-in setup. The car had serious issues with grip and had significant body roll throughout the corners. Through sweeping turns, the car never felt planted, and I never felt truly 100% confident. And over large crest corners, the lateral grip was just not there. It even managed to catch me off guard, and I almost spun out.
Traction control kicked in, and my car just slid. I don't know what that was about. It just slid sideways. That was weird.
This will be the first area of improvement. We'll be fully reworking the suspension components from coilovers to sway bars and more to dial in a better setup to improve grip. But no suspension setup can go without a good wheel and tire combo. After replacing my SR01s that had Continental all-season tires with Mach V awesome wheels wrapped in Bridgestone Potenzas, I fully understood how much of a difference wheels can make. The difference was night and day.
These tires are so grippy. It's still a little wet out, but holy
Overall, these wheels are perfect as is. They are lightweight at only 17.9 pounds, and the current tires are fairly grippy. However, when you're chasing even the smallest of seconds, there's always room for improvement. With a width of 9 inches, there is a small lack of surface area. Upsizing to a 9.5 inch would provide a tad bit more and give me a little bit more grip. For tires, it will be an experiment with different brands and compounds to see what best suits this car.
Tire piece that's on his brakes.
When you drive fast, you need to brake hard. And when you brake hard, things get hot. And sometimes they get a little too hot. For my current brake setup, I'm running DTC 60s in the front and HP Plus in the rear. The first time out, they were great. However, I wasn't truly pushing the car. The second time out was a different story. We heated these pads up to the point of no return. During the third session of the day, the pedal feel was diminishing and I could feel the brakes were slowly fading.
The brakes. So these definitely heated up. There's a little bit of like some weird shine and polish to one side, almost as if it's like pure metal. All the brake in the middle between this gap is just solidified, so probably can't reuse the pads. Probably need to move up to a hotter pad. So big brake kit maybe?
For the short term, it's time to bump up to a hotter pad and fluid. Eventually, we'll make a full upgrade to a big brake kit. So what happens when you have increased grip with dialed in suspension and solid brakes? More speed, which means increased G-forces on the body. The stock WRX seats are not bucket seats and are extremely uncomfortable. This puts a lot of mental and physical effort on the body to stay in place and keep solid control of the car. After a full day, I was extremely exhausted from the effort.
Sweating, and it's like barely, it's not even that hot out. It's like 75, but I'm like, my shirt just feels like it's soaking wet.
This calls for all new bucket seats. In order to run those seats properly and safely, we'll also need a bolting cage along with a 5-point harness. Then I'll be able to be held in place and focus 100% of my efforts on driving. And we'll probably toss in some extra goodies like a quick release steering wheel. That brings us to the weakest point and the most obvious flaw of the WRX, the notorious 5-speed transmission.
That was a trans holding up.
Yep. They are known to be glass, but so far this transmission has held up like an absolute champ.
She's done. What was that?
and I hope to keep it that way for the near term by taking really good care of it. But inevitably, the switch will be made to the STI transmission with the DCCD integration to make it bulletproof. Hopefully, we don't break that one too, but if we did, I guess straight gears wouldn't hurt. Once we have the stout STI transmission, then it's time for power. Right now, the car has all the essential goodies: a cob downpipe, flex fuel sensor, boost controller, upgraded Grimspeed top mount intercooler, fuel pump, and injectors. This current setup pushes about 305 on 93 pump gas, and on 85 it's got a higher smile factor at 350 to the wheels, more than enough to get you around the track pretty quickly. But it can definitely be improved, and there's a few key ways that will provide more power, like sacrificing the unequal length headers for equal length headers to improve airflow, even if it means giving up the rumble sound that makes the EJ what it is. On top of that, everyone loves boost, so a bigger turbo is definitely in order. And finally, no car would be complete unless it was reliable. I know what you're thinking, Subaru and reliable doesn't belong in the same sentence, but I hate to break it to you, these cars can absolutely be reliable. The car already has some of the basics like a killer bee oil pickup and baffle, which helps keep oil from moving too far to one side under heavy cornering. And we addressed the smaller OEM radiator, which is prone to cracking on the plastic areas, with an all aluminum coil rad. After Nolan and I pulled and upgraded the engine, we also took that time to add in an IAG air oil separator. To top off the setup, the car will also need an upgraded oil pan for increased capacity for keeping the temps in check. As development of the car continues, we'll also be adding various gauges for car vitals like oil pressure, oil temp, and air fuel ratios to monitor for problems in case they arise. And then maybe it'll be track worthy.